This video is opinion-based commentary. It explores ideas, systems, and patterns from a personal analytical perspective. It does not present facts, target individuals, or claim objective truth. In the gathering dusk of great cities, a voice rises above the clamor, soft, insistent, intoxicating. You cannot survive without me. For over a century, socialism has whispered this promise to millions. But what if that whisper belongs to a narcissist? Narcissists don't merely seek power, they crave absolute emotional dependence. They convince you that you are broken, incomplete, lost, until they arrive to save you. Socialism operates from the same playbook: equality as bait, total reliance as the trap. Watch the narcissist before the mirror, endlessly admiring the reflection of their own grandeur. Socialism does the same. It worships the state as flawless, infallible, eternal. And from that reflection, invisible strings reach down to control the lives of ordinary people. Under pouring rain, desperate hands reach toward a glowing red symbol in the sky. The message is clear: without the state, you are nothing. Narcissists erode your self-worth until you believe only they can complete you. Socialism erodes self-reliance in exactly the same way. At the family table, shadows gather. An unseen presence leans in, whispering doubts, sowing division, demanding loyalty. In personal relationships, we call this abuse. When the state does it to an entire society, we call it protection. Their individuality surrendered to the collective rhythm. Narcissists demand constant admiration. Socialism demands constant gratitude, for the state alone knows what's best for you. On one side, a lone inventor sparks brilliance in a cluttered workshop. On the other, endless gray fields where uniformity is enforced. Like a jealous lover, socialism cannot tolerate independence. Individual genius threatens the myth that only the collective can provide. It begins with seduction, grand promises of safety, justice, belonging. The red ribbon wraps gently at first, but slowly, inexorably, it tightens. What was offered as protection reveals itself as possession. From revolutionary balconies to modern parliaments, the pattern repeats. Charismatic figures exploit vulnerability, offering salvation in exchange for obedience. History's greatest socialist experiments began with the same emotional manipulation we recognize in toxic relationships. When the promises falter, when shelves empty and freedoms vanish, the mask begins to crack. The caring provider reveals its true face, a system that cannot survive without your continued, desperate need. Dependency was never the side effect. It was always the goal. Contrast thrives in liberty. Narcissism demands uniformity. Socialism enforces sameness, draining color from life until all that remains is obedient gray. The state presents itself as protector, cradling the fragile lives of its people, but protection slowly turns to possession. The hand that promises safety closes into a fist. What began as care becomes slow, deliberate suffocation. Clinical psychologists have long described the pattern: grandiosity, lack of empathy, exploitation. The narcissist devalues others to elevate the self. Socialism mirrors this exactly. It devalues individual achievement to glorify the collective, insisting only the state can assign worth. Every empire built on manipulation eventually crumbles. The grand plazas fall silent, banners rot, promises turn to dust. Yet the pattern persists, because the vulnerable are always ready to believe the next voice that says, "You need me." Recovery from narcissistic abuse begins with one act: recognizing the chains. The same is true for societies. Breaking free from socialism's grip is not rebellion, it is healing. It starts the moment you reclaim responsibility for your own life. Wherever socialism takes root, the narcissistic pattern emerges: grand promises, gradual isolation, and the quiet erosion of the individual soul. The bait is always equality, justice, a better world. The hook is control. Narcissists dangle validation and purpose in front of the insecure. Socialism dangles material security and moral superiority. Both know exactly how to make you swim willingly into the trap. Eventually, the performance falters. The mask of empathy cracks. Beneath it lies not hatred, but something colder: emptiness. Socialism's proclaimed love for the people was never genuine. It was theater, sustained only as long as the audience remained willing to applaud. At every moment, societies stand at a fork. One path promises security through submission, the other demands responsibility through freedom. Narcissistic systems survive only when enough people choose the first road and convince themselves they had no choice. Victims of narcissistic abuse heal by setting boundaries and reclaiming agency. Societies heal the same way, by rejecting the voice that says, "You need me," and answering instead with quiet, unbreakable confidence, "No, I am enough on my own." Look closely at the icons of socialism across a century. The same traits recur: grandiosity, entitlement, exploitation, masked as virtue. These are not coincidences. They are the unmistakable fingerprints of narcissism embedded in the ideology itself. Socialism sells equality, but the mirror lies. What it delivers is uniformity, individuality stretched, compressed, and distorted until everyone fits the same narrow reflection. The promise of fairness was always an illusion, hiding in forced sameness. Every dawn reminds us, light returns when the storm passes. Societies suffocated by narcissistic control can breathe again. The moment people reject the lie that they need the state to survive, true individual flourishing begins. In the end, the manipulated can become the movers. When enough pawns recognize the game, they stop sacrificing themselves and instead topple the king who convinced them he was indispensable. History is not doomed to repeat. Across the globe, nations are awakening. Where individualism and free markets return, the red tide recedes. Socialism's grip weakens wherever people reclaim the power it told them they could never wield alone. The antidote is simple yet profound: awareness. See the manipulation for what it is. Recognize the voice that says, "You need me," as the narcissist's eternal refrain. Then answer, quietly and firmly, with action, and choose freedom instead. Every ideology deserves scrutiny. Every voice that claims you cannot survive without it deserves suspicion. Question the whisper. Ask, is this care, or is this control disguised as salvation? True strength has always resided in the individual, not in the collective, not in the state. The human spirit thrives when unbound. In the end, your life belongs to you, not to any system that claims you need it to breathe. One awakened mind can light another. Ideas of freedom travel like fire in the dark, quietly at first, then unstoppable. Ignite your own independence, pass the flame, break the cycle that has bound generations. The future is not written by narcissists or ideologies that demand your dependence. It is written by individuals who dare to walk alone toward the light. The future is yours, not socialism's, not the manipulators. It is yours. This content reflects personal interpretation and analysis. Viewers are encouraged to think critically and form their own conclusions.